the Cam Thomas game, the Jericho Sims game, the Usman Jang game. The Bucks take control in Orlando, split the series with the Magic. Maybe, just maybe, build some momentum. We discuss on Locked On Bucks.
You are Locked On Bucks, your daily Milwaukee Bucks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Bucks. I am Justin Garcia, joined as always by Camille Davis. We thank you for making this your first listen of the day, each and every day, and for helping us make the Locked On Network the #1 sports podcasting network in the industry. You can hear me on the Bucks Radio Network. You can find Camille on our Locked On NBA coverage and the Technical Foul podcast as well. And we come to you shortly after the Bucks got back in the win column and have now won 4 out of 5, right? Like, holy cow, we're starting to build something here. An impressive showing tonight, honestly, Camille, in Orlando against the Magic. There's a couple of things that stood out about this game. Just the overall level of competitiveness on both sides. There was no double-digit lead from either side in this game. It felt like it basically, the margin sat at like 4 for the last 10 minutes or so until the Bucks pulled away. The individual performances that stand out that, of course, we'll get to momentarily here, but we just have to start with this. You knew it was going to happen. Apparently, our constructive feedback and criticism is once again misconstrued as you're being too hard on Kevin Porter Jr., but you just knew, well, here comes a big KPJ game after we're accused of being Kevin Porter Jr. haters. And we did get that in a triple-double from Kevin Porter Jr. And I believe he was a team high in the plus-minus. You know how much I love that one. Yeah. In the plus-minus category as well. Kevin Porter Jr. was very good tonight.
He was. Like, there is no denying that. Triple-double from Kevin Porter Jr. I believe, too, the first 4 made field goals for the Bucks, he assisted on every single one of those first field goals. And that's something that we were talking about earlier, where I was like, hey, this season for KPJ, he is having a career season with his assist numbers. So, like, you saw that in full effect for the team today. Even more impressive to me was just how continuously he got downhill. Perfect 7-7 from the free throw line. Matter of fact, shout out the entire Bucks squad. A perfect 24 of 24 from the free throw line. The Bucks are the worst free throw shooting team in the league. Not even just the free throw rate, but like the percentage that they actually make their free throws. Worst in the league. So to see them as a team go perfect from the free throw line was like, hey.
Were they actually perfect, though? Because Jericho Sims had the miss and the lane violation.
Oh, they don't count the lane, but they just wiped it off. That free throw doesn't even count, because if you look at Sims' final line, he's 5 of 5 from the free throw line.
Right, so. But like, that's our standard procedure. I can't even keep it straight now. So if Giannis takes 11 seconds to shoot, it counts as a miss. But if Jericho Sims misses and his own teammate has a lane violation, it never happened.
I think was that his turnover? Because he has 1 turnover. That might have been the turnover for the team.
Can we get those as turnovers for Giannis then?
They need to do something, make it consistent.
Like, maybe that free throw percentage is going to be like 69% then.
It could, but no, KPJ, like, he kind of set the tone for the team too. He led the team in minutes. And another thing I want to give him credit for is that there was a part, I think it was in the 3rd quarter, where he went down and I was like, oh boy, it looks like he grabbed it at his hamstring. I hope he's not hurt again. Like,
it happened before the turnover, where you could see he just kind of paused and clutched at it. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, he's had a tough season when it comes to injury. He's been playing through things, just trying to be available for his team. So I was like, please don't be hurt. So to see him get up, finish the game for the team, have some critical baskets down the stretch too, it was fun. Also, 10 rebounds for Kevin Porter Jr. Like, of course, you're triple-double, and you're like, well, clearly he got double digits in 3 different categories. But to be the 2nd leading rebounder on the squad behind Jericho Sims, like, he was going at it. Like, he was trying to find ways to get this team a victory, putting pressure on the rim, getting his guys passes, assisting, and then getting them rebounds too. 2 blocks for him in this game as well. Like, just a really strong game from KPJ in this one.
Yeah, 2 offensive rebounds too?
Yep.
He was good, and I thought it was pretty telling after the game too, in that Doc Rivers had high praise for him. He had even more for a handful of guys we'll get to here. But he talked about KPJ's night in comparison to Monday night in Orlando and said, we talked about this after Monday, basically. We showed him the film and jokingly said we counted there was 500 and however many dribbles, Doc said. But there was way too many. And overall, we're fine with a high number of dribbles because he's the point guard.
Right.
But we need him to be quick, downhill with power, either score or look to get someone else involved in scoring. And tonight, that's what he did. And that was the difference between tonight and Monday night, which I think, again, that stood out more than anything. Kevin Porter Jr., and he clearly has it in him. We have talked about this before. He is a playmaker, and he has that ability. It's an unorthodox offensive approach. He can decelerate. He can get his teammates involved. He easily gets to his spots. That is when he's at his best, not when it just becomes a handful of dribbles to get into an isolation mid-range jumper, even though those are his shots, to continue to push the pace and get some looks for other guys like Jericho. 6 of 6. All 6 of those shots came at the rim tonight. And another very, very, dare I say excellent, but very good defensive performance. This is now 4 straight games with Jericho Sims where he's been great.
Yeah.
Like, you found the ways to use him offensively, and his defense has been excellent. You go back to these 2 against Paolo Banchero. Banchero did not score 20 points in either of those matchups. It's not the cleanest way to look at it. There are some bugs in it, but if we look at the matchup data, Paolo Banchero only made 2 field goals tonight when he was defended by Jericho Sims, and those were both threes. He did nothing in the paint. Jericho Sims, most impressive to me was the Pacers game when he basically put Pascal Siakam in a straitjacket, and you could see Siakam was uncomfortable, wasn't able to be as physical with Jericho Sims as he is with other guys, the quickness to stay with him. He was really good there. He was impactful in that Bulls game where he was, a plus 29 or something in the plus-minus game. Jericho Sims, if you want to say we are too critical on Kevin Porter Jr., I will acknowledge I have been too critical of Jericho Sims throughout the season. Jericho Sims has been excellent for this last week plus.
He has. And to your point about the defense, he helped anchor that for this team. The Magic are one of the best teams when it comes to getting points in the paint. I believe they're 6th in the NBA. They get 52, 53 points a game in the paint alone. And when you look at the numbers in this game tonight against the Bucks, only 26 points in the paint, half of what they normally average against the Bucks in the game where the Bucks outscored them by 12 points in the paint, in the game where the Bucks out-rebounded the Magic by 17 just overall. 47 boards for the Bucks, 30 for the Magic. And Jericho Sims has been a big part of that. I love the fact that KPJ is throwing that man lobs. His hands was working in this game. He was
Cam
playing
Thomas too.
Yeah, Cam got him one too. And Sims had a couple in this game where I was like, oh no, that pass is off. It's too high. Yeah. And he still found a way to go. And
I think one was that Cam one where you were like, wow, you finished that.
It was supposed to be a turnover. And it was like, nope, actually it's a poster. It was beautiful work from Jericho Sims tonight. And the best thing about Sims in the last couple of games is him playing with pace. We mentioned that when Pete Nance had finally gotten the rotation, it's a big playing with pace. And you see Jericho Sims in that same ilk right now. He's rolling with pace. He is playing with pace. He is attacking the glass with pace. He is not doing anything at half speed right now, just playing really hard, filling lanes properly, and doing his job. Jericho Sims, a career night for him, career high in points for him tonight, 17 points, perfect from the field, a double-double for the guy. 5 fouls in this one, and the last one I was like, ooh, please don't let that one cost him when he fouled with a minute 12 left or something like that, put him on the free throw line, but it didn't come to bite the Bucks. And just a top-notch game from Sims in the starting role for the team tonight too. So yeah, whatever he has been focusing on over the last week or so, need that energy to continue tomorrow against the Thunder and coming out of All-Star break.
He's been excellent, and now it opens up a broader discussion for Jericho Sims, which we'll get to coming up. And look, we haven't talked about 2 of the names yet that clearly stood out on social media with Bucks fans. So we'll get to more of the individual contributions, including the two newest members of the Bucks, coming up after this on Locked On Bucks.
But first, a word from our friends over at TurboTax, because just because it's tax season does not mean it has to take over your life. This year, TurboTax is making it easier than ever to just hand things off and move on about your day. With TurboTax full service, you can have your taxes done for you by a trusted local expert from start to finish without stress or any guesswork. So instead of spending hours trying to figure out forms, you can just go and meet with a local TurboTax expert in person or connect online, and they will handle everything from W-2s to self-employment forms, and they will work with you to get you every single deduction. For a limited time, you can have your taxes done by a local TurboTax expert for just $150 all in, if a TurboTax expert didn't file for you last year. So just make sure you file by February 28th to take advantage of that deal. Take taxes off your plate and get back to your life. Visit turbotax.com/local to book your appointment today.
Want to remind you again to sign up for our Everydayer Club. If you are one of those everyday listeners, you get ad-free episodes of Locked On Bucks. You get access to the Discord channel as well, which was quite busy tonight throughout the course of the game, especially with some instant reactions pouring into what we saw from Usman Jang and Cam Thomas. You can sign up for the Everydayer Club. Find the link to do so in the show notes of today's episode. So those two names, Camille, I think are going to steal most of the attention. Cam Thomas and Usman Jang. It started with Usman, who got some early run. Like, okay, we're putting Usman Jang out here this early in the opening quarter. Let's see what he's got. And what did he start 5 for 5 or 4 for 5, something like that on his threes. The shots were falling for Usman Jang. He had a couple of nice sequences just to show you a body. That's a big wing. Is one of the other big impacts. We're not expecting him to score 17 points a night.
Right.
Maybe he has an encore here in his revenge game against the Oklahoma City Thunder coming up on Thursday. But, after the game, Doc talked about it too and said he knows how to play. That was the first thing that we noticed. He can put the ball on the floor and make plays. And now we finally have a natural big three on our hands. He really tried defensively. We need him to play with confidence. That was the big thing. He's been in the league waiting for his turn, and now he's getting it. And we just kept telling him, shoot. Like, when you get the reps, just go shoot. And he played confidently, and you saw the results.
Absolutely. And that was one thing about his game where I was like, that's the area he has to continue to work on. It's just having that confidence in himself when he's on the court, feeling good about the work he's put in, and hearing him speak after the game. I was like, he's not short on confidence. Like, he believes in the work that he's putting in, and he seems like he's ready for this opportunity, because being in OKC, there's just a lot of guys on that roster, this championship team, where it's like minutes are going to be hard to come by. You come to Milwaukee and there's an opportunity for you. And tonight he was able to really take advantage of that. Like a career night from him, career high, and made 17 points is, I believe, a career high for him too, in just points. So it's one of those things where it's like, with opportunity and with a new role, can you expect him to get you, 13, 15, 17 points a game consistently? We'll have to see what that looks like. But honestly, this game, and seeing how Jang and seeing how Thomas were able to just inject that life into this roster, where it's like, hey, we got some new guys here who are coming out and they are showing something. Like, it was nice to just have a fun game. Like we talked about, hey, is this Pelicans game going to be like the most fun game that we get so far this season? And if the Bucks can keep competing like they were tonight, playing with that pride I've mentioned, like, we might continue to have some fun nights going ahead. And Jang is somebody where it's like, man, I just want to continue to see him get minutes, see what it looks like for him getting an opportunity. And I hope that he can carve out a consistent place in the rotation for the rest of the season, because even if the Bucks are chasing the play-in, I still want to see some of these younger guys get those reps in, get the opportunity. Let's see what we really have for next season as well, where you can have a higher ceiling on the team than what we might have this year, given the slow start to the season that the Bucks were in. But Yeah, shout out to Jang in this one. This was a really fun one for him. Even like the mid-range pull-up that he had, it was just kind of like, get into the bag, continue to cook. And this is a tough defense to do that against too, with just individual performers, defenders. So yeah, shout out to Jang. And of course, shout out to Cam Thomas. 34 points for Cam Thomas.
Yeah.
You know, seeing that there was no Rollins, it was like, I expect a lot of Cam Thomas, and it became a Cam Thomas game.
It did very, very quickly. To wrap it up on Usman Jang, as a wise man once said, never trust the Bucks. So we'll see if we continue to see consistency in terms of the rotational spot for Usman. But I am encouraged to hear Doc Rivers say, we finally have a bigger wing. We finally have a natural three that we can throw out there. I would assume that means we're going to see him regularly, but you know what they say with the phrase about making assumptions. And also, we need a new edit to get Mike Breen, instead of saying bang, just get Jang for any time he hits a three, and that's what we're getting here. Cam
just
Thomas,
get the word to Marcus Johnson. He'll make that a thing, a Bucks thing for sure.
He definitely. Cam Thomas. So, look, I don't know who is against the addition of Cam Thomas for the fact that it was no cost to you whatsoever. You had an open roster spot. You didn't give anything up for him. You brought him in. The Bucks are clearly interested in keeping him beyond this season. If you read between the lines and listen to John Horst and listen to Cam talking about they've long been interested in my game. I think we talked about this before. They clearly need some defensive players. Mm-hmm. That's not Cam Thomas's game. Doc Rivers talked about it tonight too, where he kind of massaged in he was fantastic. And he also competed on the defensive end, and that's all we're really looking for. I still make the point. The offense to me has been far more disappointing than the defense, because realistically, like when we did our season preview, we said, I think this is going to be a really good offense in top 10. I hope the defense is just like league average. If you get that, fine. Neither of those two have been anywhere near you expected. They're in the bottom 10 and close to the bottom 5 in both of those categories. Even with the injuries, the offense is the most disappointing part. And I think the offense is the area where you have the clearest path forward to say, we can continue to get better offensively. And he helps you do that. Mm-hmm. Again, the way you built this roster to just say everything hinges on Giannis, you see the downside when Giannis goes out for the amount of games that he's already missed this season, of like, okay, if it's built with catch and shoot guys that are going to optimize his playmaking, what happens when that playmaking's gone because he's not on the floor? You're really going to start to crater, and that's what we've seen. So you just need a guy that's going to keep the scoreboard moving. And it's hard to find another guy. You'd be hard-pressed to find someone that does that better than Cam Thomas. And that's what we saw tonight. I mean, what was it, 25 minutes, I think, that he played?
34 points, 25 minutes.
34 points in 25 minutes is exactly what this team has been missing, to have that threat to do something there. Really since Dame, right? Since you have, I know last year, but you haven't had anything to fill that void of, you can't lose track of this guy because he'll do this. I'm not expecting Cam Thomas to go 4 of 6 on threes every single game. I'm certainly not expecting Cam Thomas to hit that 4th three the way he did every single game. But there was no risk to this move whatsoever. And I think there's a lot of Bucks fans that are even like, sign him. I don't care what it costs. You don't have any advantage to sign him in the offseason. You don't have any bird rights or anything because he was released. But I mean, as we talked about, you have things like a biannual exception that you could use to sign him. You could dip into the mid-level if need be. It seems like he's going to be here for the long haul. And, to see the reaction from our guy on the bench to some of those shots too, of like, okay, I can work with this. To see Giannis's reaction was the like, okay, let's keep an eye on this part.
See, I was telling you, the Zodiac GM, he told us ahead of time, Justin, that was going to be the combo. But no, I mean, I think that is fair. Like, I think that, one, you should celebrate what we saw from Cam Thomas tonight, because that was a shooting like exhibit that we saw from him. To start 0 for 4 from the field and then finish 12 of 16, like just a heater from the moment he hit that last layup to like end the first quarter for the rest of the game. Like, it was impressive shot making. And for a player like him, even hearing him after the game talking, they're like, well, you know, you got off to a slow start. Like, what changed? And he was like, I just missed. Like, this wasn't a shot that I didn't like. I just missed. And that's the thing with a guy like a Cam Thomas, and to another degree, like a Kevin Porter Jr., where it's like, they know they can get into their bag. They like getting to certain spots on the floor. And if they can get to their spot, they're going to put that shot up. Cam Thomas, even more so, because I mean, just the level of the bucket getting that he can do. But the thing with it is, like, when you are somebody who can make those tough shots, none of the shots feel bad at all. So it's figuring out the place, because we have talked about this offense and the times where it gets stagnant. It's like, hey, we leaned too much in the ISO ball. You know, the shots weren't falling. Things turn for you. So one thing I do love about this addition, because as you mentioned, didn't have to give any assets for Cam Thomas, which is the biggest benefit of it, but it's also getting him in the building with Doc, who I know there are criticisms for Doc, and a lot of them are well-founded, but you have heard him talk about the work that this coaching staff has been doing with Kevin Porter Jr. Like, hey, trying to get him to be more of a point guard, making him sure like he doesn't dance as much, but it's with purpose. You heard him say, like, hey, with Cam Thomas, they're trying to do the same thing. And more than anything, being able to have Rajon Rondo in your ear and talking to you as a young guard, like we heard about that with Ryan Rollins. You see it with Cam Thomas now. Like, there are some guys on this bench. Rondo is the big one for me, where it's like, I'm just really curious how the development will continue for these guys going forward under that tutelage, because there's not many better to learn from than a Rondo and what he can do and how he can see the floor. So shout out to Cam Thomas in this game. One of my favorite plays for him, didn't even register on the stat sheets for him. It was the hockey assist he had. He got doubled on the ball when Sims was rolling, kicked it to Sims, who kicked it to Jang in the corner for 3. And I was just like, that's beautiful basketball right there. It's not on the stat sheet for Cam, but he made the right play. It's situational, knowing when to go for that shot, knowing when to move the ball. And tonight, he knew he had to put some points on the board, and he did that in a really, really fun manner. Like, jumped out my seat a couple of times with some of the shots that he hit in this one.
My favorite play was the travel that wasn't called.
I was like, he clearly traveled, right?
He clearly left his feet, but well, let's not protest that one too loudly. And as you mentioned, Camille, and you referenced Zodiac GM, the day this signing was made, strong synergy with Doc Rivers, Giannis, and Miles Turner. Still feel there's a weak point within their overall team synergy in terms of a floor commander. Nonetheless, a very strong move for the Bucks, and it took all of 2 games for us to see how potentially strong this could be for Cam Thomas. So now it's on to Oklahoma City. Oh, by the way, against the Thunder, who just absolutely mopped the floor with the Phoenix Suns tonight. We'll take a look ahead to that matchup, but more specifically, why, you know what? It's never a good time to catch the Thunder, but maybe, just maybe, this is the time to catch the Thunder. We'll dig into that coming up after this on Locked On Bucks.
Finding a doctor that you actually like can feel like discovering a diamond in the rough. Like, yes, of course you want somebody who's going to be in network, who's nearby, who has availability for you, but you also want a doctor who listens and makes you feel comfortable and that can explain things clearly. That kind of doctor does exist, and you can find them easily with Zocdoc. Zocdoc is a free app and website that helps you find and book high quality in-network doctors so you can find someone you love without the hassle. We're talking about booking in-network appointments with more than 150,000 providers across all 50 states, covering 200 specialties, from primary care and dentistry to dermatology and eye care. And listen, Zocdoc makes the process really simple. You can search by specialty or by symptoms and then actually build a care team that works for you. So whether you want to go in person or do a video visit, Zocdoc makes it easy either way you put it. So stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to Zocdoc.com/LockedOnNBA to find and instantly book a doctor you love today. That is ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNBA. Zocdoc.com/LockedOnNBA. Thanks to Zocdoc for sponsoring this message. Also, a word from our friends over at Wayfair because the new year is here. We're a month into it about this point, and it's a really good time to reset your routine and refresh your space before the spring cleaning begins. If you're spending more time at home, you might as well love the way that it looks and how it feels. And that's why you should turn to Wayfair. It's a one-stop shop for getting your home back on track, from bedding and mattresses to storage solutions for every room. Wayfair makes it easy to start the year fresh. Wayfair has everything you need for a full home refresh all in one place. So whether you're trying to update your living room, organize your space, or upgrade your work from home setup, Wayfair's huge selection makes it easy to find exactly what works for you and your style and your budget. I'm personally shopping around on Wayfair now to find things to kind of freshen up my podcasting space here, make it a little bit more visually entertaining. So Wayfair has quite a few options for me, and I cannot wait to pull the trigger on some of those because shopping is easy, delivery is smooth, and everything arrives exactly as expected. So get organized, get refreshed, and get back on track this new year for way less. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That is WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home.
So now you get the Oklahoma City Thunder to wrap up your pre-All-Star break schedule, and that game is final. 136-109. They take care of the Phoenix Suns, and they're still playing without A.J. Mitchell, still playing without Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. That is not going to change before tomorrow. They also, by way of this blowout win, didn't have to play anyone of consequence more than 24 minutes, really, in this game. So, by the way, they'll be relatively rested. Going back to OKC. Now, the game ended later than yours, so you got a head start on them going to Oklahoma City as they played in Phoenix, but they're also sleeping in their own bed. Here's where it's, look, if you're going to catch the Thunder, I said, may not be a bad thing to have it here. No Shea, obviously, is a part of it, but you got to play him twice a year. If I can set it up where one of the two times is the final game before the All-Star break, fine, perfect. Because even the good teams, Camille, what was that song? Even the best fall down sometimes. Even the good teams, even the really good teams, Camille, they can get a case of senioritis of like, it's the break. We've had a long, long year here going into the finals, going 7 games in the finals and winning the championship. And now this, like, I'm just ready for a week off. And sometimes you can catch a team like that. Now, I would much prefer the Bucks were rested and not coming in after having spent a lot to beat the Magic and playing the night before. But for one of these 2 games against the Thunder to fall at this spot in the calendar, you know what? I think that's a win for the Bucks.
Absolutely. The only other time I would be like, hey, if we can figure out a way to get this game here, it would be like the very last game of the season where it's like maybe they're not playing for anything at this point.
Can we get both of the games against the Thunder in the final 3 games of the season?
Exactly. Like let's just do it that way. But no, I mean, you're right. That's a perfect time to try to catch them. I mean, it seems like Jang is also looking forward to this game, getting back to OKC, playing against his former teammates. Very curious to see what that game is.
I bet he's going to have a nice cheering section there too, just hearing other people in Oklahoma City talk about him. Like, yeah, we had other guys that were better than him and that were blocking him, but like we liked him. We rooted for him. He was a good guy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's going to be type of energy that we'll see whenever Jonathan Kuminga makes his way back to Golden State after they were accusing him and his people of stealing food from the team and whatnot, and hearing the jokes that came from that. But for the Thunder, yeah, I mean, it's a really good Thunder team. Like, the fact that they are 42-13 and people kind of don't have the same energy for them that they had at the beginning of the year because they were just on that unbelievable streak to start the year where it was like, are they going to win 70 games this season? But to also catch them without SGA, it's a team for the Thunder this year that has dealt with quite a few different injuries along the way. But we know SGA that's the MVP right there. Like, that's a really big piece to miss. But I did see that Jalen Williams made his return back to the lineup too. So you have another all-star to deal with here, plus the other guys on that roster. So it should be, if the Bucks can play the way that we have seen over the last week or so, where it's like the competition levels are there. Like they're not backing down from the fight. They're staying connected. They can rebound. Like this is a team where if you can rebound, you might be able to get some hay here. So it could be a really fun matchup, a fun way to end things before you go into the break, because to your point about the senioritis that might set in here, so many people say like, oh, all-star break, we're halfway through the season, but really you're like 2/3 of the way through the season. A lot of basketball has been played. Guys are ready for this break. So hopefully the Bucks can take advantage of that.
Yeah, Jalen Williams back after a 10-game absence. So who knows? Maybe he's not playing in back-to-backs yet. Like, we got that going for us too, potentially. As we wrap here, I know there's been a lot of pushback on like, why are the Bucks doing this? And clearly you should start Operation Tank and try to enhance your odds for the draft pick. Look, what I would say is this. The decision has already been made. Whether or not we agree with it, this is clearly what the Bucks are doing. They are going for it with the addition of Cam Thomas, and now with the addition of the superstar in the making in Ousmane Jang as well, and Jericho Sims turning into a bona fide superstar as well. But they're making the decision to go for it. How much of that has to do with Giannis? And Giannis, I guess I would say like putting his thumb on the scale and saying, I'm interested, but I want to be in the playoffs and I want to see this, and this in the offseason. I'm sure there's a component to it, but the other thing is this. You've already put yourself in a spot where realistically there's not much the Bucks can really do at this point to catch some of the teams you would need to catch. And, oh, by the way, the fact that it's a pick swap that hangs over your head too, where we can look at it and we can say, well, right now they have an X% chance to win the lottery or to get this pick slot. It's not actually true. Your record has that chance. You don't necessarily have that chance because it depends on what happens with New Orleans. Mm-hmm. Sacramento, you are not catching. And we had the matchup tonight between the Jazz and the Kings, and it was the Kings basically saying, go ahead and try that BS. Like, you are not going to out-tank us. And that's what we saw, where Utah won convincingly. Washington has 39 losses. You're not going to sink to their level. New Orleans, 41. You're not catching them. Indiana, 40. Brooklyn, 38. They already got rid of Cam Thomas. I would imagine Michael Porter Jr.'s back is probably going to start to act up again relatively soon, and he'll be put on ice. Utah, as we just mentioned, has made a mockery of tanking and player availability. They've already got 37 wins. You're not going to get to their level. Dallas and Memphis are interesting of like, okay, maybe you'll finish right around one of those two teams if you just continue to bottom out. But I would say both of those teams are also saying, Memphis especially, we're playing for picks. And Chicago is going to sink beneath you. So realistically, even if the Bucks said, let's just try to lose from here on out, there's so many teams that had much more of a head start on you that at best, you'd probably sink down to like the 6th worst record in the league, maybe 5th. And what that means is you could be drafting as low as 9th. And even if you increase your chances to win the lottery, congratulations, you're helping out the Atlanta Hawks even more and increasing the chances that they have 2 bites at the apple to get the number 1 pick. So look, I do get the talent that's in this draft. I ultimately think this is the best route forward because of what we talked about in terms of culture and just building that type of culture and habits that you want around this team. You do not want to let losing and trying to lose sink in, especially with a handful of young players on this team. But I also choose to believe, Camille, that it doesn't guarantee the Bucks get in the playoffs. They still have work to do to get there. That if this is the route you take, we go back to the year the Bucks won the championship and the way they approached the final weekend, where it was like, we could shut things down and do this and avoid Miami, or we could do this and it means we could get Miami. And the players said, no, let's do this. And if we get Miami, we get Miami. Whoever we play, we want to beat them and we want to go on to win the championship. And that's what they did. I do feel like, you know how you get rewarded? You go for it.
Yeah. That
the basketball gods do smile on you. It's no surprise the teams that we've seen with the best chance to win the lottery have not won the lottery because most of those teams are outright tanking. And if you just say, look, we got Giannis coming back. We brought in Cam Thomas and Ousmane Jang. We're going to try to win games here. Maybe you finish 10th. And maybe you lose one of those 2 games you're going to have to win, and then you're in the lottery. You get the sense of like, you know what? I think those are the teams where the luck shines on you. And holy cow, Bucks unfortunately didn't qualify for the playoffs, but wow, they jumped up to 4th, and New Orleans ended up with the 3rd pick, so they still get a pretty good draft pick out of this, and they were able to be a competitive team down the stretch.
That'll be best case scenario, because I'm also assuming in that situation that you are seeing what these other guys that have just been added to the team can do. You're figuring out what it looks like next to Giannis, and you're gathering that data really more so than anything for next season. Because even if the Bucks find their way into the playoff dance, I know that the East is pretty open right now, but I'm not sure I don't think this is a championship team this season, but there are pieces on it that could play a crucial part in getting back to that in a year or 2 when you pair that next to Giannis. So more than anything, just down the stretch, I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. I just want them to go out there and compete, play with some pride, represent Milwaukee in a way that makes me feel like, yeah, that's my team right there. And just keep seeing how things go, because it's a night tonight in the NBA where the Hawks and the Bulls lost. And now the Bucks have 30 losses. The Hawks have 30 losses, and the Hawks are the 10 seed right now. The Bulls have 31 losses. So like, you are in that dance with those teams to get to that last play-in spot. The Hornets have moved up to 9 in the East at this point. So you're in the dance. You might as well see what you can do when you get there and get that experience. If you do make it into the playoffs, if you don't, hey, lottery pick is coming your way. We just got to figure out where exactly it's going to land. So honestly, like I said, like the Bucks have me now over here remixing do or die songs. I'm on the play-in chase, Justin. It's all about the play-in chase. That's where we're at now. It's not a paper chase. It's a play-in chase for the Bucks, and I am on board with it at this point.
Look, if you want to know why I'm saying you're not going to catch these teams, just go look at the game logs. Go look at the starting lineup and the rotations from that game between the Pacers and the Nets tonight, and tell me how many of those players you can name. Right? Like, that's where we're at. Cam Jones. I think anybody listening to this show, like, oh, I know Cam Jones. But outside of that, this is what we've reached. And I mean, it's a much broader conversation that I'm sure we'll get to over the All-Star break, but it does feel like it's hit a tipping point that we need to do something here. So we'll dig into that coming up over the course of the All-Star break. But we still got one more game in Oklahoma City against the Thunder. We'll see if the Bucks can start to build towards another win streak here, and if we have an encore from Cam Thomas and Usman Jang coming up in their final pre-All-Star break performance. We thank you again for tuning in each and every day and making this one of your first listens, in most cases the first listen of the day. A reminder, there is still time to sign up for the Everydayer Club. You get ad-free episodes of this show. You get access to the Discord channel as well. There was a lot I mentioned that we were discussing during the game on Discord tonight. The legend that is Cam Thomas, the cap impacts too, and what's it going to cost to retain these types of guys? Those were the type of conversations that were taking place during the game tonight. So you get access to the Discord channel and ad-free episodes of the show. You can still sign up. Find the link to do so in the show notes of today's episode. For those of you on video, we send you to the first ever national 24/7 NBA YouTube channel, and on audio, make sure you make that your second listen. Locked On NBA and NBA Game Night. That will do it for today's show. For Camille, I'm Justin. We'll talk with you guys once again tomorrow on Locked On Bucks.